Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great week. It is Tuesday, November 25th, I think, 5:18 p.m. Central Standard Time, local time here in Oklahoma City. I'm in my personal vehicle on the way to the house, and I'm going to upload the driving video today. It's like 7 or 8 hours of me driving from Mount Pleasant, Texas to Fort Worth, doing a delivery, then driving from Fort Worth to Oklahoma City, and then driving around town in Oklahoma City, getting a DOT inspection done and work on the trailer. Lots of stuff in that video, but I want to make a shorter video covering one little thing that happened today, and that was a Landstar DOT inspection. I failed my DOT inspection at the TA Petro, and I'm just going to give you the short version of it. Then I'll talk for a couple of minutes about the longer version. So I failed the DOT inspection. I asked the mechanic to prove it to me where the regulation was. The mechanic could not find the regulation. The mechanic basically put his foot down and said, "I'm the mechanic." So I called Volvo, and they told me the specification, but they couldn't find anything in writing. They just told me what they thought it was. And then I called Landstar, and Landstar told me what they said the exact same specification that the Volvo dealer said, and they said that it's in the FMCSA regulations. So I got a lot of pushback with the person at the front desk, Cliff, but the mechanic was like, he gave me a lot of pushback initially, but when I told him what the specification was, then he went and verified the regulations with the specification, and then he went and checked, and I was within specifications. He tried to fail me on two things: a ball joint just underneath the steering column. I'm not sure exactly what part it was. He said that he found the specification on that one after he failed me on it. Whenever he was trying to find the proof that I failed it, he found the actual specification, and it was 2 inches. And he checked, and I was well within specification. And then Landstar and Volvo told him that, the 1/16 of an inch on the steering column U-joint, and he tested that, and that was a 32nd of an inch. So it was like twice the specification. It was well within tolerance. It had much less wiggle to it than was allowed. So he passed me. Well, he failed me. He submitted the failure to Landstar, and then he had to go and modify his inspection and resend a pass to Landstar. So he didn't do like a second DOT inspection after he failed me on the first one. He amended his first DOT inspection and passed me. And he admitted he was wrong, and he said that, he learned something new today. So that's the short version. The longer version is that whenever he initially failed me on all that stuff, I told him that there has to be some tolerance. Like, it's barely moving at all. I said, that's not fail. I understand that you guys like to fail people on this. You've tried to fail me on this several times. I've had several DOT inspections done at that site, and I've had it inspected by, they have 3 or 4 or 5 master mechanics at that location that are Landstar. They have 5 Landstar certified mechanics, and I think 2 or 3 of them are master mechanics. And I've had my truck inspected by pretty much all of them. And several of them have tried to fail me on that exact steering column U-joint, saying that it can't wiggle at all. But they've said, well, the Volvo dealer's closed right now, so I'm not going to fail you on it. You just need to get that replaced. And that's what's happened every single time up to this point. And then this time they actually failed me on it. So because they have been threatening to fail me on it for a long time, I've actually asked several mechanics about it, and every mechanic I've asked about it was like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, they've, wiggled my U-joint on my steering column. They're like, no, that's perfectly fine. So every mechanic's told me that it's okay. So, like, I was really ticked off when they tried to fail me on it because it was barely moving. Hardly any wiggle. And, sorry, I'm just watching traffic to make sure somebody doesn't cut in front of me and I hit them. And, so I asked him to show me the regulation, and he went in there and tried to find it, and he couldn't find it. While he was searching for it, he found the regulation for the ball joint, and it was 2 inches. So he went back out there and checked it, and he said, okay, I found the regulation for the ball joint. It's 2 inches, and you're within 2 inches, so I'm going to pass you on that, but I'm still going to fail you on the steering column U-joint because that's 0 tolerance. I was like, where's the regulation on that? And he said, you're going to fight me on this? And I said, yes. He even called his, tech support line for help, and they told him the regulation, and he went and looked at it and showed it to me, and all it said was worn. And his translation, his interpretation of a worn U-joint is a U-joint that has any movement to it at all. Any wiggle, any looseness at all in the U-joint, he considers that worn because he said that a brand new one doesn't have any wiggle to it. And I said, well, if you're going to use that justification, then the whole truck is a failure. Like, there's no used part that operates like a new part. And he just got mad and didn't want to talk to me anymore about it. So I called Volvo and asked them what the specification was for that part being failed, for that U-joint being failed. And they asked one of their DOT inspectors, and their inspector said that he thinks it's a 16th of an inch. And they tried to find something in writing, and they could not find anything in writing. And I told them, thank you for looking. They spent like a half hour trying to find something in writing. And, sorry, I'm hoping somebody doesn't rear end me because cars are just flying up on me right now. I hate being stopped in the road like that, making a left turn. That is so dangerous. So, anyway, yeah, they couldn't find anything, so I called Landstar, and Landstar told me it's a 16th of an inch as well. Same thing Volvo told me, and I said, well, where is that, written? Where can the mechanic find that? Is that a Landstar policy or what? And they said, no, that's the FMCSA regulation. I said, oh, okay, so they can find that in the FMCSA regulations. They said, yeah. I said, okay, I'll tell them that. And I said, what's my recourse if they won't change anything? They've kind of been stubborn about it and put their foot down and told me that, this is how it is. I'm the mechanic. They've given me that. I've been doing this for 20 years crap. What's my recourse if they refuse to pass me on this or even check if it's within specification? What the hell? I have a delivery on the porch. I haven't ordered anything. And I'm surprised it hasn't been stolen, sitting there all day. Oh, you know what I bet it is? I bet it's something from Landstar. Around the holidays, they'll send crap to us. So let's wrap this up. Anyway, so Landstar said, so I got off the phone with Landstar. Well, Landstar told me on recourse, they said if they won't check if it's in spec, or they won't pass you if it is within spec, then let us know and we will talk with them. we will contact our point of contact at that location and we'll deal with it. And I said, okay, thanks. So then the mechanic took off to lunch, so I talked with the front desk people and told them what was going on. And this guy at the front desk, Cliff, got really defensive and started, using super trucker talk, telling me he's been a truck driver for 20 years and he's been a mechanic for 20 years and he's been a certified DOT inspector for 20 years, and he knows everything and I know nothing, and we failed it, and that's the end of it. There's no discussion. There's nothing you can do about it. It's illegal for you to move the truck, and just started spouting off a whole bunch of nonsense like that. And I was like, it's not illegal for me to move the truck. Landstar has a policy. And he cut me off and he said, I don't care about Landstar policies. It's a federal crime for you to move the truck after it's failed a DOT inspection. I said, no, it's not. And he said, I've been doing this for 20 years. And like, this is a fairly young looking guy. It looks like he's maybe in his, like around 30 years old. And he's claiming to have been doing all kinds of stuff for 20 years. And just wouldn't let me say anything, kept talking over me, and just spouting off a bunch of nonsense. But anyway, I talk more about that in the driving video. I'm going to try to keep this video short. But when the mechanic got back from lunch, he went over and ran over and told the mechanic what I was going to do before I was able to get to the mechanic. He went over there and told the mechanic that I had called Volvo and Landstar, and they both said it was a 1/16 of an inch tolerance. So the mechanic immediately ran over and grabbed his equipment and started measuring it. And I said, so did you go over? I walked over to him and I looked at Cliff and I said, so did you tell him about the 1/16 of an inch and he's measuring it? Is that what's going on? And he said, yeah. And he measured it and he said, okay, it's a 32nd of an inch in that direction, and it's a 32nd of an inch in that direction. Okay, so it's within specification, so I'll go pass you. And that was the end of it. And he said, well, the mechanic said, I learned something new today. So, he took it like he was kind of a pain in the ass to deal with up to that point. But after that, he didn't apologize or anything. He just admitted that he was wrong and passed me on the DOT inspection. And that was the end of it. And then Landstar, well, when I left the place, when I was driving away, someone from Landstar Equipment Compliance, the department at Landstar that I called to talk to about them failing me on this, and I was pretty sure it was not a violation. That department, one of the people in that department called me while I was driving home and asked me what was going on with the inspection on the truck. And I said, I'm on my way home. And she said, I said they passed me. And she said, what? They passed you? Okay. I said, yeah. Once I told him about the 1/16 of an inch thing, he found it in the regulations and he tested it, and it was within specifications, so he passed me. And she said, oh, okay. I didn't get anything saying that they passed you. Let me check. And she checked for a couple of minutes, and then she finally found the DOT inspection. And then she's like, okay, we're all good. Thank you. I'll go ahead and process it right now. She was really nice. But I think that what happened was once he submitted the failure to Landstar, I think that they put some kind of tracker on me, an alert that if I moved the truck, and I think that she saw that I moved the truck and she was calling me to find out what was going on. And I think I would have probably gotten in trouble if I had just driven away after the failed inspection, because it's against Landstar policy to leave, to move your vehicle after it's failed a DOT inspection. So, yeah, once she found out that, he passed me, then she said that she processed my inspection and we're all good to go. So yeah, that's the whole story. I talked in a much more detail in the driving video. You can skim through it and find it toward the end of the video, where I dealt with all that stuff if you want more information. But that's the short version of what happened. I'm going to go eat my Panda Express and enjoy a day off at home. So have a good one. Bye.